Sane with Jane, Season 2, Local Legends, the show that helps you to thrive, not just survive. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Tune in each week as Jane connects with local legends of Dorset, bringing you the most up-to-date health and wellness guidance, therapies, courses, retreats, and stories happening locally. Each session includes a guided meditation hosted by Jane or one of her special guests. Here's your host, Jane Scanlan. Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 7. And today we are interviewing Lucy Davis. Hello and welcome.
Hi Jane, thank you so much for inviting me on. I feel extremely privileged to be on a Local Legends podcast from my beautiful roots of Dorset. So thank you so much for reaching out.
My absolute pleasure. I have been following you online. We haven't met in person yet, but I can tell, your energy is massive. You are a true intuitive. You're definitely a woman on a mission, and you're here to inspire people, aren't you? And to get them out of their heads and into their heart space and help them on that kind of spiritual mission in this lifetime. So we're not wasting life, we're actually here living it and doing something with it.
Absolutely. It's all about the embracing the life, like whatever life throws at you. We need to learn how to ride those cosmic waves, as I like to call it. We've got to grab our surfboards, hold on and ride those waves rather than getting caught up. So it's been a bit of a wild journey for myself, to be honest with you. So all I do is everything that I've learned over the years, or every experience that I've gone through, I just put it into practical terms for people, and then they can obviously evolve their journey using the stuff that I've been through on mine,
Fantastic. And talking about that journey, can you tell us a little bit more about you? So not the person that's out there right now doing all the stuff, but the journey and how you got to where you are now.
How long have we got? It's a bit of a wild one, Jane. It's a little bit of a wild one. So I was born...
That is why I love these interviews, because what I find is people in the spiritual world, we've come through a journey, haven't we?
Absolutely. And this is the thing, a lot of people get caught up in the moment believing that we were incarnated like this, and we weren't. We've been through the same challenges, the same, lumps and bumps in the road. We've had our hearts broken, and the version that people see today of me is not the person that you saw or like people knew back then, and it's really, really, really important to recognize that and actually embrace the person that we are. So I was born to a beautiful family. Like, I've got the most safe mum and dad you could possibly imagine. And I was born in Poole Hospital in Dorset on the 2nd of February. And, I've got to be honest with you, Jane, like, my family life from my perspective was amazing. Don't get me wrong, like, things happened, like divorce and other bits and pieces along the way. Yeah. But, I was very, very protected. I had an amazing childhood. But again, as I say, I had an amazing childhood. At 8 years of age, my dad actually stopped his car after picking me up from my horse riding and told me that he cheated on my mum, which is a wild thing to learn at 8 years of age. And so, of course, I started to get a bit of a story in my mind about men. And so that was at 8 years of age. At 10 years of age, for those that have lived in Bournemouth their whole life or lived in Dorset their whole life, we get to do this beautiful thing called the 11 plus. I was doing my 11 plus exam to go to Bournemouth Grammar School, and a guy or a boy, obviously at the time, had an epileptic fit. I thought he was dead. So again, it's another bump in the road. Like, literally, I thought this man, this young boy at the time, had died.
In the exam?
In the exam. Literally, we've been going about 5-10 minutes, and obviously it just got too much for him, and he just collapsed. And how epilepsy appears, like, the frothing of the mouth, and it was just so scary as a 10-year-old girl. And it was that moment where I switched my gifts off. I was always a wild, bright button of a girl. I loved rounding people up and being excitable. And, I really saw the lust for life as a child. But what happened from that moment, Jane, was I switched it all off. Like, life became very serious. I became focused on school. I became focused on the kind of things that the schooling system want you to focus on, you know, and like your family, they want you to do well and they want you to get on in life. And I'm not saying any of those things are bad, but I'm just saying I went from this little being of, I don't care, I'm just going to be me and I'm happy, to all of a sudden having the weight of the world on my shoulders by two things that can happen to anybody. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, fast forward a few years, my 16th birthday, my beautiful older sister decided to tell me that she was a heroin and crack addict.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, on my 16th birthday. So, you know, just before then, a few months before then, my parents had split up as well. So it was just compounding lots and lots of different trauma, lots of different situations.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm sharing this so openly and vulnerably with your listeners is, like, I can imagine every single person that's listening to this will be like, oh, that happened to me. Something like that happened. Something similar happened to me. Oh my God, yes, I had all of these challenges too. I had all of these things happen. And, you know, like, I don't like to say that it's a good thing that these things happen, but they do shape you to being a particular kind of person. And I feel very privileged, dare I say, that I went through these experiences, because now, with the wisdom that I've got, obviously I can help people that are going through similar things, you know. But as a 16-year-old girl, Jane, it was hideous. You know, it was hideous. It was such a lot of pressure. You know, obviously I saw my mum
And
absolutely
just about to go
collapsing.
through all of your exams and everything else.
And it was, you're absolutely bang on. It happened literally a few months before my GCSEs. And, you know, back then, I don't know if they're as important these days, but back then GCSEs were important, you know, like, I know now A-levels and degrees tend to be a little bit more important, but back then GCSEs were kind of like an important thing. And, you know, my parents had just split up. My sister was now an addict, like, and I didn't really even understand addiction. And then in the next thing, I've got these exams on my shoulders. And I'll be honest with you, Jane, I went from being like a young girl to a grown woman overnight.
Yes.
And anybody out there that has been through anything similar, like, the baggage that you pick up when you go from being a child, like, and I was a young child, you know, I was horse crazy. I was, you know, very good at netball. So I was very engrossed in sports at school, and every weekend it was about, you know, horses and going showing and jumping and all the rest of it. I wasn't one of those young girls that were interested in boys. It just wasn't me at all. And my friends are shocked when I say that, because obviously as I got older that changed a lot. But like, people are shocked when I say that. Like, I wasn't interested. I just loved being around animals. I loved being outdoors. And so, you know, as the years progressed, I went into serious self-sabotage mode myself. I drank alcohol. I took recreational drugs. I was a very well-known girl on the Bournemouth party scene, you know, and like, people hear this stuff about me and they're like, how was that you? Because a lot of people today can't even believe that was me. And I love it when I run seminars and, like, people from my past come along and they're like, I remember that girl, like, and they literally say, like, she's not lying, I promise you. Because obviously now the girl that I am today, the woman that I am, is a complete polar opposite to that. You know, so I'm saying this, so any of you guys that are out there that are in a bit of a self-sabotage cycle, please don't think that you're off your spiritual journey. Like, you are going to get there, you are going to make it, you are going to get to wherever it is that you need to be, but you just got to keep on keeping on. You know, it's so important for us to just keep stepping forwards. Then over the years, Jane, in all honesty, I spiraled. I had amazing, loving relationships, and then all of a sudden my insecurities kicked in, and you know the normal stuff that happens to people. So I started sabotaging.
It's so common. I have a very similar story.
Oh, really?
And when I speak to other holistic well-being, spiritual coaches, mentors, therapists, we all have that kind of a similar journey. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, just on that point, because I've got I'd really like to share my opinion on that with you, if you don't mind, because maybe it'll resonate with other people. I actually truly believe that we had to get caught up in the stickiness of the cobweb, if you like. You know, we had to be that fly caught up in the cobweb, because without us, you know, like, we weren't meant to fit in here. but we wanted to fit in. We desperately tried to fit in. And so we had to kind of like dull ourselves down a little bit by using drugs, smoking cigarettes, by drinking alcohol, by partying, and that whole hedonistic lifestyle. Like, I lived a hedonistic lifestyle for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I believe it's to suppress us and to just hold us back a little bit. And then all of a sudden we end up breaking free from that, and we turn into the butterflies that we are today, you know.
I don't know about you, but I had many moments in that lifestyle where I just knew it wasn't for me. I knew I shouldn't have been there. I know I was the one that would feel guilty,
Yeah.
whilst doing all the
Yeah.
things, and afterwards, and everybody else would be like, "Oh, Jane, like, just get on with it, have fun. We're having fun. Don't worry
Yes.
about it."
Yes.
I'd be doing it, but I'd be feeling guilty about
Why
doing
am I
it.
doing these things? Why am I not going home? I used to be, seriously, Jane, it resonates with me so much, because I used to be the girl that would be like, I want to go home at like midnight, but then I'd be like, what if I miss out on something? What am I going to miss out on? So I ended up staying out till 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, you know,
going to the next club and the next club and the next club.
and chasing
Yes.
that thing. And it's like, like, I look back now, I'm the first one to go home. I'm like, yeah, bye.
A lot of the time I don't even go out now. I'm like, oh, could we meet in the afternoon?
I know we're at that age where lunch is the thing now, right? Like, just let me do lunch. I don't want to go out.
I love a
that
day
so
rave
much.
still. I've got to admit, I love
I
going.
haven't been. I need
I think you would
to
love
go to one,
it.
because I
It's
know I
full
will.
of spiritual 40 pluses.
I need to go there, Jane. I need to find one.
Definitely. So, how did you get started in your field?
Well, again, this is a very interesting one. So through my hedonistic lifestyle, I actually worked for my sins for JP Morgan, BNP Paribas, and UBS Investment Bank on the trading floor. So I was like right
on the
in the belly of the beast.
I knew you worked for them. I didn't realise it was.
Oh yeah, I was right in there, and so I knew how messed up people were, for want of better words. You know, there were suicides in the environment that I worked in constantly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was, and it used to hurt my heart so much. It hurt my heart so much. Now, in 2013, 2014, I physically burnt out. Like, my health just said, enough is enough, Lucy. You know, my spiritual awakening journey was right. If you don't get the memo and wake up, we're taking your health from you. We're going to strip you bare of everything. And that's basically what happened in 2014. I had to quit my job as a director on the trading floor. And, you know, for me these days, I say that it actually saved my life. Now, that is how I got into what I do today. I burnt out physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was bare, I was raw, and I was a mess, for want of better words. So I had to quit my job, and I went around the world for 14 months, and I was in a very lucky position, Jane. So many people couldn't do that, which is why I share it so openly. I don't want people to get to that point. You know, people need to recognize before they get to that point that they are, you know, they have the power within them to make the change. It's just a decision that they need to make.
Yes.
So I made that choice in 2014. I went around the world. Honestly, I've got some wild stories. We don't have enough time for it today, but I have some wild stories, literal random connections that I met. I met some of the most incredible healers around the world. I ended up in the Amazon jungle picking plants and things that help heal the body, and you name it. Like, my path was just laid from that moment forwards. But like anybody that's on this journey, I was like, okay, how can I normalize what I've learned? So I thought, oh, I know, I'll qualify as a nutritionist. Like, I've hurt my health. I'm going to help other people. And so I went and did a degree in nutrition at Greenwich University whilst I was still working and whilst I was doing all of that good stuff. And I also did a health coaching course, because I was it's going to be about health.
Yes.
Because although I knew I was intuitive and things like that, like I wasn't really getting the memo still at that point. So I went back to work for UBS Bank, and whilst I was there, I was building my coaching business. And when I'm talking coaching, it was very much health coach. It was very much nutritionist. It was very much like, let's heal the body. And then I remember one day a lady came to me, and she had some physical dis-ease in her body, and out of nowhere, I just went, oh, this is why you've created that. This is how it's happening. And it's so matter of fact. And I was like, what even is that? Like, how do you know? And I was like, I'm ever so sorry if that's offended you. And she went, how did you know that? Like, it was a real, like, what's going on here? And I scared myself, Jane, in all honesty. But I realised at that point I could channel spirit, and that actually I could help people get to the root cause of the disease in their body and where it came from and the emotional trauma that surrounds it. But of course I was a bit scared to do that. So I continued with my health coaching, and I continued with the nutrition until I got to a point probably about a year down the line where there was no denying that I had very, very, very special gifts, and I was able to help people shift whatever was going on in their life. You know, if they had put on a bit of weight, I could get them to the place where they manifested that. And it was a very, very interesting dynamic, Jane, because I went from being this very corporate, very hedonistic lady to being this complete woo-woo freak of nature on the trading floor, because I was still there at this point. And
you were still there.
Yeah. And so I only went back for 2 years, but I'd finished my degree and I'd started, you know, I played the game when I went back, in all honesty. I used to do seminars once a month where I'd stand in front of anywhere between 200 and 500 people and share topics, you know, because I was like, oh yeah, you know, this would be really good. And of course, UBS were like, please do this, like you're helping reduce our sick days, please help us, you know, people are going to get better. So that's what I did. I just started doing it. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I know more people around the world need to know about this. And I made a brave move, and I jumped out of corporate in 2017, and I've never gone back. And of course, the journey has evolved massively. I don't just work with people's health now. I activate the soul. I take people on, you know, a journey from living in their head, you know, really, really working from their head to go into their heart so they can create the self-love for their spiritual awakening. You know, so it's been one wild rocket that I've been on, in all honesty, Jane. But so I've been doing this full time since 2017. But kind of like part-time since 2014, so almost 10 years.
Yes, fantastic. Funnily enough, I jumped from the NHS back in 2017 as well.
Oh, how
so
interesting.
It was definitely a jump year, and a couple of years, or even 1 year later, I made it down to gorgeous.
Sorry about that background noise. somebody just decided to stand right there and shout. Apologies to your listeners for that. It's not intentional.
Yes, what you need to know about Lucy is she does do a lot of traveling, a lot of speaking, so we're very lucky to have her on the show. And yes, she's in a nice coffee shop right now. She's on the road, so
I've been doing energy work all weekend. I've been speaking. I've been doing all sorts of different bits and pieces. So I'm making this work. You're getting the real life Lucy here with you.
So let's dive deep into your business, because you do a lot, and we don't want to confuse the listeners. I'm going to have all the details of all the connections to Lucy below or above or somewhere right next to this interview. But tell us about, like, what's your business evolved into now?
Okay, so interestingly, in 2015, I was sat in my mum's kitchen and I named my business Active 8U. So ACTIV with an 8 and then a letter U. Now, I didn't have a clue what I was doing back then, and I didn't realise that I could channel back then either, but this name came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And actually, it's the most beautiful, beautiful name that I gave it, because that's what I do. I activate you. You know, its essence, whatever it is that you need. If you need your mind activating, I do that. If you need your heart activating, I do that. If it's your soul that needs activating, if it's your health, like whatever it is, at its essence, I am somebody who is here to remind you of your eternal truth and bring it back online. Like in its simplistic form, that is what I do for a living. Now, my business has evolved massively. As you heard, I was very much nutrition and health coaching, and although, you know, I have, so I've got a 12-month program called Self-Love Club. Self-love clubs started as cheeky little seminars that I ran around the world, where I would help people recognize the love within and bring them back online and give them seven steps to self-love. And then what happened over the...
I had a 7 steps to, something. Yes, definitely.
You got to do it. And that's why when you said this is episode 7, I was like, of course it's 7. What else would it be? That's fine. It could only have the other number would have been number 2, because I'm 22 and everybody knows me as 2222. So that would have been the only other number. But yeah. So I had a 7 steps process, and I used to literally go around the world doing self-love club seminars, and they were amazing. I had such a good laugh. And then one day somebody said, like, I need a bigger program on this, Lucy. Like, talk to me about how you've got where you've got. I get a lot of people coming to me saying, I want to have gifts like you. And I'm really open and honest with people and just say, every single one of you have my gifts. Every single one of you have Jane's gift. Every single one of us are exactly the same. It's just how much we surrender to the journey as to what gets activated and what comes online, And I just, everybody listening, please know I'm nothing special. I'm just a conduit this lifetime, and I'm here to just hold space for as many people as possible, and a true spiritual mentor, coach, whatever you want to call it, will have that conversation with you. Like, you can have anything. You can be psychic, you can talk to spirit, you can see spirit, like anything that you are keen to do, you have the ability to do it. It's just about that surrendering journey. So I literally took on board what this person said to me, and I really valued this person. And he kept saying to me, please, Lucy, please, like, help me get what you've got. And I was like, you have it, like, literally you have it within. But then I was like, you know what, like, let's do something about this. And so I reviewed my healing journey from the minute that I burnt out physically, and I broke it down into almost 12 steps, if you like. And I started producing content and started putting things together so that I could share this journey with just the normal, average, everyday Joe. And then they could go on this process, and they'd have weekly calls with me. They could work with one of my coaches. They could do whatever, whichever. There's many options of the way that you can work with this program. So I've been running this program now for 4 years, constantly. I haven't given myself a blooming week off, Jane, so I'm changing that next year.
Oh my gosh, change that.
Literally, I'm like, Lucy, walk your talk. Some self-love here, please, young lady.
Get those boundaries in place.
Absolutely. Well, I'm lucky now. I've got a team of coaches, so I do actually delegate a lot of stuff to them. I'm very lucky. But I am walking my talk. I'm changing the program at the moment so that next year when it starts, I would have actually had 3 months off before we start. So it's very, very important. Yeah, it's very important to walk your talk. There's a lot of people out there that are not doing that. So, and if I'm going to speak out about that, then I want to be making sure I'm walking my talk,
Yeah.
So
definitely.
basically, the 12-month program is broken down into different steps. We look at how the ego mind manipulates you. We look at different things like moving the body, fueling the body, like all sorts of different. But literally, it's how I healed myself. And when I talk about healing, I've actually had a really big healing journey, not just the burnout that I experienced. I had tumors in the womb. I had, chronic digestive issues, underactive thyroid. I was on medication for, literally, there was so much stuff that was going on with my health that I've been able to heal because of this journey.
And I bet you have healed through this journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've healed, because so much, or all really, disease is due to the trauma and the lifestyle we lead.
Exactly. So we didn't do ourselves any favours back then, Jane, did we?
No, I had IBS and all sorts of
Yeah. And IBS is a really interesting one. I find it fascinating because I actually never randomly, this time last year I flew to Egypt and I sat next to a gut surgeon. So he was a surgeon of the colon. Basically, that's basically. And I was like, I've got a question for you, because we were talking about it, and he said to me, he was like, oh, we ended up chatting, and he said, oh, what do you do for a living? And I said to him, well, I help, one of the things I do is help heal emotional trauma within the body. And he went, oh, explain that to me, I'm interested to hear. And I was like, well, let's look at the gut, not knowing he was a gut specialist. And I'm like, well, let's look at the gut. The gut holds on to all of the anger in the body, the resentment, the shame. And I saw his eyes prick up, and I said, you mind me asking what you do? And he said, oh, I'm a surgeon. And I said, oh, what area do you specialise? He went, the gut. And I thought, oh, my intuition is hilarious. Like, she's so funny. She's just like, I'll just go straight there. So I said to, like, we were having a good discussion, and he was kind of like, you know, obviously talking from a medical perspective about how he wanted certain things to be, and how, you know, although he could see like a little bit of similarity, like maybe not. But then we got onto IBS, and he said to me, without any shadow of doubt, you know what, Lucy, you're onto something there. He said, we physically cannot prove it's anything, which is why we just blanket call it that. There's nothing we can do about it. He said, so I am going to take this conversation and start putting it into my practices and see how, if I talk to them about what's irritating them and what might be causing anger, things in their life, then I am going to see the results. And he actually reached out to me. He's a doctor in Gibraltar. He reached out to me and he said to me, I've got really good results from you. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm like, you are so welcome. And this is the beautiful way the divine works, right? Because we have to have these conversations. And just imagine we could bring the two worlds together, holistic and medical. You know, because I do think there's a place for medicine. Like, I do anything but that.
Hi, the cat has come to join, by the way. Hello, Lucy.
Oh, so beautiful.
I've come to join.
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. The energy's lovely. Oh, bless. So yeah, I do think that there is this like merging of the worlds that is taking place, and I love the fact that people are open to this. There's so many that have shut it down. So yeah, this is basically what I do. I help people establish with their ego mind where the trauma has come from. You know, how we can look at that, how we can raise it up into consciousness so that we can look to heal it. And like I say, we look at every area of the body, like the mind, body, and soul. In all honesty, in that program. And what a lot of people say to me is, yeah, but I don't understand why looking at nutrition helps you get spiritually aligned. And I'm like, well, it's multifaceted, right? We need to look at every area of our life to recognize how we've held ourselves back in the past, and how we have, you know, how we just haven't been able to move forwards because of certain decisions, and like you say, the lifestyles. So, and then everybody gets to the end of the program.
Would you agree that everybody's nutrition is slightly different? I mean, there's things we all need, but some people are really good on some different type of diet than the other, right?
Totally agree. Yeah. So I am personally plant-based for a reason. I have a blood type which is very much supported by that. I've tried everything else and it just supports me. A lot of my clients go, I know you're not going to like me eating meat, and I'm like, says who? Like, if it works for you, eat it. Like, I'm not going to judge you for it. It's just something that I don't do. And this is where we need to be with everybody. This is not about judging. It's not about me being right or you being right. It's about lots of different perspectives, and then whatever works for you, please go and follow that.
Yeah. Yes. I've tried so many things on the journey, and I'm not on any particular diet right now or way of eating, just normal, as healthy as I can do it. But I've got to say, the thing that made me feel the best was the ketogenic diet.
Wow.
But it's just quite hardcore, and I'm not feeling hardcore right now.
Yeah, see, one of my very good friends got very sick on the ketogenic diet, very, very, very sick, like over the longer periods of time. But she said that during short periods, she felt amazing. So I think you're probably doing the right thing.
Short periods, yeah. I mean, I did 3 years, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was amazing. But then I think, I can't remember. I just wanted a bit of cake.
Yeah, fair play. The thing is, I believe balance. You know, we've got to have some balance in our life, Jane. We're also obsessed with being a particular way, and you know, even with the spiritual journey, people become so obsessed with, I need to be more spiritual, I need to be more connected, I need to be this. You don't need to be anything. You're perfect the way that you are. If you want to learn, if you want to remember more, then please, like, go along that journey. But don't beat yourself up about it, and certainly don't compare to anybody else.
Yeah, on the journey, I think, especially at the beginning, and when there are different kind of changes or challenges, we can all get so rigid, and actually I think it slows us all down, and it certainly slows the kind of spiritual access, channeling, and everything for me.
Absolutely. No, you're bang on. So so the 12-month program sees everybody literally change their whole lives. And like I say, during it, they're like, how does this improve my intuition? Because I'm not literally teaching them how to do these things.
Yeah,
then all of a sudden
that's really
they're
clever.
like, they're getting the telepathy, they're getting all of this stuff, their families are shifting, and they're like, how does this even work? I'm like, self-love is the answer to it all. It's literally that. I love it.
Amazing. As there are lots of holistic wellness businesses listening to this show, and I do spiritual business mentoring as well and tech support for people. What is your best bit of business advice?
Oh, love that. I love that question. So for me personally, it's walking your talk. You know, like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people out there saying that they do certain things and they don't. Like, authenticity is the highest vibrational frequency on the planet. Like, it's okay if you like a drink of wine at the weekend, own it. Your people will love you for doing that, and they'll probably like doing it too. You know, like, don't pretend to be this person who sits there with, you know, like a turban on their head or something if that's not you. Like, people say to me, like, how? Because I walk around in jeans, you know, I'm in my bikini. Like, I don't have that spiritual look. You know, I'm just a normal girl that got brought into a normal family, and I just tapped into this wonderful world of the mysticism. So my advice is, there is 8 billion people around the world. Your people will find you as long as you're being authentic. And just a little add-on, if you don't mind, Jane, so a bit cheeky, I'm giving two. Show up, put yourself out there. Do not be embarrassed. You know, like, allow yourself to mess up, allow people to see you mess up. Like, and if you do something that you're like, oh God, I did this and it wasn't really in alignment with, you know, what I actually practice, talk about it. Because then people can relate to you, and they're like, oh, it's okay for me to mess up. That's good. And, you know, for me personally, that's my biggest advice for anybody. If you want to create anything, you know, and I went from zero. I had no help with any business, and I've got the most incredible business now. Like, I am so lucky. I can travel around the world, and I've got a team of 8 coaches that do like that support for, you know, like, it's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
But that's because the whole way through I've just been real and raw.
Yeah, that's beautiful advice. I think when I first got introduced to you, somebody sent me one of your YouTube videos or your lives or something like that, and it was back in the lockdowns.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
passionate,
which I loved, because there was many people saying stuff but not actually going online and saying, hey, I don't believe this stuff. This is what I believe.
That was me.
Yes, that was you, and well done to you.
Thank you.
And I was sharing, going, yeah, this is just not right. This doesn't feel good to me. And I think a lot of the time people are worried about about sharing those points of views.
Absolutely.
Aren't they? Because of their business and their business persona and all the rest of it. But I really feel, to get that authenticity, you know, we have to stand for what we believe in.
Absolutely.
Don't be so rigid, you know, that you can't accept other people's points of views.
Exactly.
But yeah, to be able to, like, this is where I stand on the subject. This is me. Yeah.
And in all honesty, Jane, so I don't know how long ago that video was, but, you know, I lost 36,000 followers on Facebook because I was leading the protests in London. Like, let's be real about it. I wasn't just speaking; I was leading those things, you know, because
I was there. I was
so passionate. You know, I was so passionate, and I lost a lot of people that, like, before they took my account, I lost a lot of people because of their views, that are now coming back to me going, oh my God, I wish I'd listened to you. Oh my God, I judged you. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry. Yeah. You know, I appreciate you saying it to me, but don't. And when you're real and when you stand in your voice, it doesn't matter what you perceive yourself to lose. What's important is that you stand in your truth, and you are the bright button, you are the shining light for other people to be able to navigate towards you, or be able to, you know, don't ever feel anything that you lose was not intended for you. And sometimes we've got to lose a little bit so that we can welcome in what is actually intended for us. And this is where a lot of people, like, they cling on to the past and then they get burned. Let go. Let the universe have your back. And as spiritual, mentors, as spiritual teachers, as spiritual practitioners, we have to be the lead in this. Sometimes we have to release things that we think are going to be with us forever so that we can actually get what we truly deserve.
100%. Yes. If I was to find you online now, how would we start working together? What would that look like? What would my options be?
Wow, there's many options with me, which is why I was like, we are so going to confuse this. Yeah, basically. So basically, I have a series of different programs from like 5 days all the way through to whatever, like the 12-month program. On top of that, I do a lot of energy work around the world. So I callings and I go on these what I call missions to realign energies. I've got books, you name it, I have got it all out there. I have a podcast a bit like you do, Jane. I have all sorts of different things. So it's really horses for courses. Like, not everybody is the same person, not everybody needs the same thing, and it's exactly the same from a business perspective. From a business coach, you don't need the same as what you need from somebody in marketing. And this is why it's very important that you understand and really, really get clear on what it is that you want. If you do not know what you want, then how are you going to be able to find it? And I say the same to any of my clients that's like, I really would love to manifest my ideal partner. I'm like, okay, so what does that look like? Oh, well, tall, dark, handsome. No. What does it look like? And this is what we need to get with the spiritual journey. Like, what is it you're looking for? Do you want to get connected to spirit? Do you want to love yourself more? How does that look? Because it's only at that moment of clarity that you know what you can search for. And then, like, there's many different people out there like myself that offers a whole different array of things, from individual programs for you. But I also run this thing called Conscious Conversations every Monday evening. And literally people come along and they get their absolute socks blown off just by, like, we look at current day events, we look at, consciousness, we look at all sorts of different things. But, at the moment, we're looking quite a lot at, like, history, the past, and things that I've been channeling where things perhaps aren't quite as they seem. And honestly, people come along, and a couple of people last night was like, how on earth does this ever happen? Like, how do you get this information? Because it's so, like, real inside. So there's many different ways, Jane. Like I say, it's just a bit overwhelming for people, really. I would just look at my website and take a look there. And also you can reach out to my head coach for a free 15-minute call, so that like, if you know what you want, then she can obviously help you identify that and figure that out.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So do you have any other top tips or anything for our audience that they can implement immediately, that's free, that's available to everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I would ask every single one of you listening to answer this question first and foremost. So the question that I asked myself at the start of my journey is, who are you, Lucy Davis? Because a lot of people can list out everything that they're not, but it's very rare that people can list out everything that they are or everything they want to be. So that's where I would start with that. And I have a whole heap of free ebooks on my website, from, your best partner to, I've got a really cheeky book called Dealing with Dickheads. Because sometimes we have those people in our lives. So what I would do is I would recommend everybody go over to my website, help yourself to as many free ebooks as you want. Like, there is some absolute gold in there, and it will really help you shift I know that book sounds quite rude, but actually it's very much about consciousness. It's very much about stepping into your own power. But it's just a cheeky title because I'm a little bit cheeky like that. But ask yourself the question, who am I? And then your name. Literally write that down on a piece of paper, grab a journal. I'm a massive fan of journaling. I'm a massive encourager of using a pen and paper to get everything out of you, out of your cells. So that's what I would invite everybody to do.
Fantastic. And the website is lucydavis.com. therapies.com. And you've got everything there. It's a really, what can I say, thorough website.
It's definitely all there, Jane.
It's all there. So look above, look below. I'm going to have all of Lucy's deets there. She is definitely the Energizer Bunny in the spiritual world.
It's my job, I'm the activator.
Yes, she is the activator. And I very much look forward to seeing you in person, whether it's at one of your events in the UK or in Bournemouth.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, Jane. It's been lovely to speak with you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Stay Sane with Jane, Season 2, Local Legends, the show that helps you to thrive, not just survive. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Tune in each week as Jane connects with local legends of Dorset, bringing you the most up-to-date health and wellness guidance, therapies, courses, retreats, and stories happening locally. Each session includes a guided meditation hosted by Jane or one of her special guests. Here's your host, Jane Scanlan. Hello, you gorgeous souls. That was an amazing interview with Lucy, and we're going to be heading into the mindful maintenance section. I'm getting so confused. I am sorry. We're going into the meditation sessions, a cross between meditation and mindfulness. So we're stepping down a gear, tuning in to our souls. And today we are going to dive deep into some compassion, some love, and forgiveness. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Get yourself comfy. As we shift gears, today we're going to be tuning into compassion. 4 infinite thoughts. Before we start this guided mindful meditation, I invite you to tune into your body and how you feel within the belly, chest, and head. Are there any emotions popping up right now? Any positive or negative impact stories that you believe regarding compassion? And just remember that there are many others who are feeling similarly about this topic as you. Yet with increased awareness and mindfulness, you can apply these techniques in your everyday life. So now you've found a comfortable place. Take a moment in your seat to connect to the ground through the soles of your feet or your sit bones or whatever is touching down. Notice the connection to the ground. And then with a long, slow breath through the nose, lengthen the spine. Equally breathe out, grounding again. As you sit here, watching breath, intentionally draw a slight smile to the lips and allow the body to bask in a sensation of happiness. Feel into that sensation as if you already have happiness in this world. And every cause of future happiness right here, right now. Content. Knowing that you have everything you need. And then with the sensation, the felt sensation of how this happiness feels in your body. Imagine sending that same sensation to either one single particular being or all living beings in the world. And then imagine this one particular being or everyone feeling that same full-bodied happiness and contentment that you feel right now. From the sensation of happiness, allow yourself to feel as though you are also free from every pain and suffering, and all causes of future pain and suffering. Still breathing into that slight seen or unseen smile. You are completely free from pain and suffering. With your whole body, drop into the sensation of how good this freedom feels. As you wish the same for just one particular being or all beings everywhere. May all beings everywhere be free from pain and suffering. And all causes of future pain and suffering. As you send out this wish, feel the energy of that wish fulfilled coming back to you. As your happiness and your sending of happiness to others causes the happiness of others to return back to you. Seeing all other beings happy and free from pain, thanks to your wish, brings you joy. Locate this joy in your body and rest in awareness of this joy. And feeling completely full of joy, send it to others. May all beings everywhere feel this same complete and full sense of joy. May they feel the joy of a full body connection to happiness, fully absent of any pain or suffering. And allow yourself to imagine a world where every being was connected to joy. And because of this connection, not a single person would ever hurt another. And the recognition that this world began with you. With your willingness to connect to the joy within you and to share it with others. And so may you always be willing to share joy. And may you share it freely with all beings equally, whomever they are. Imagining for a moment what it would be like to live in a world where everyone freely and equally shared joy. Let's intentionally send out that wish. May they feel the joy of a full body connection to happiness, absent of any pain or suffering. And allow yourself to imagine a world where every being was connected to joy. And because of this connection, not a single being would ever hurt another. And recognize that this world began with us today, with your willingness to connect to the joy within you and to share it with others. And so may you always be willing to share joy, and may you share it freely with all beings equally, whomever they are, imagining for a moment what it would be like to live in a world where everyone freely and equally shared joy. Let's intentionally send out that wish out to the world, out to every single being out there. Kushnikira kama turkua, chiamakar kienakwa, tiwata chiabata, chiamakurkuma. I invite you to place your hands around your body in a hug, and to envisage and place that smile and that joy on your face, within your body, exuding it out. And people will know you are joyful and you are content. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe wriggle your fingers or your toes. Shift your sit bones. Coming back into the space that has held you in meditation. Taking a deep breath. When you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back into the room, into the physicality. And throughout that guided meditation, you may have heard some purring as my cat came and sat and purred and enjoyed the meditation. My name's Jane Scanlan. Thank you for joining me for this mindful meditation. We also host an amazing monthly subscription called the Co-Moonity. This subscription box has wonderful goodies in it, all focused around the new and full moon. So there are crystal beads, cards, intention cards, teas or cacao, incense, Santo Paulos. There's lots of different things every single month. All the details are below, and you can connect with me, Jane Scanlan, to find out more.